Turning the calendar of February, the AT&T Pebble Beach National Pro-Am on February 4th would conclude with Mark O'Meara, who won his first Pebble Beach title in 1989, make like the 49ers a week earlier in defending his title, finishing 7 under par with a 2-stroke margin of victory over runner-up Kenny Perry. Earlier that day, the Utah Jazz traveled to Auburn Hills for a showdown with the defending champion Pistons. The Jazz ended up playing a series of sour notes, however, as the defending champs, led by a game-high 21 points by James Edwards, won a 115-83 rout.
Rolling willingly just to try to get in the shot that will finish things in.
Oh, the uppercut.
What an uppercut by Douglas, and down goes Tyson.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's over. It's over.
Mike Tyson has been knocked out.
Good day from Johannesburg, South Africa. A day of remarkable events, some violence, and a day of historic change as Nelson Mandela stepped into the African afternoon a free man for the first time in more than 27 years. The man who more than any other symbolizes the repression of apartheid in South Africa was welcomed by throngs of tens of thousands, perhaps as many as 500,000 supporters in Cape Town. At least one serious incident of violence there. Police pumped shotgun rounds into the crowds. The police say that they fired at looters who had broken storefronts on the square where Mandela was scheduled to speak. Witnesses say that storefronts were smashed, but CBS News saw the police shoot indiscriminately, wounding many unarmed people who were just waiting for Mandela. With this notable exception, police on other occasions were restrained, and the crowds, while exceedingly large, were peaceful, joyful. The man they hadn't heard, but whose force they had felt for so long, finally spoke, greeting them in the name of democracy and freedom for all. Then he pleaded for calm on the streets.
And not a single one of you should do anything which will make other people to say that we can't control our own people.
Many have expressed concerns for Mandela's life, and not just because of the threats from the right wing, but also from radicals on the left. But Mandela, according to President de Klerk, has apparently turned down South African government protection. We'll have more about all of this on the CBS Evening News with Connie Chung tonight. It's an early broadcast this evening, and there'll be a full report inside 60 minutes. For now, Dan Rather in Johannesburg, South Africa.
The following week would see the Eyeball travel to Miami for the NBA All-Star Game at the Miami Arena on February 11th. In a day overshadowed in the sports world by James Buster Douglas's upset victory over Mike Tyson, and outside of the sports world by the release of Nelson Mandela from South African prison after 26 years in custody, the Eastern Conference won this one by a relatively comfortable 130-113 margin, though Los Angeles Lakers point guard Magic Johnson won MVP honors in a losing effort with a game-high 22 points. While Houston Rockets center Hakeem Olajuwon finished with a game-high 16 points. For the Eastern Conference, Detroit Pistons point guard Isaiah Thomas tallied a game-high 9 assists. Utah Jazz counterpart John Stockton led the West with 6. While for the East, Chicago Bulls shooting guard Michael Jordan and Philadelphia 76ers power forward Charles Barkley finished with a team-high 17 points each, while New York Knicks center Patrick Ewing added 10 boards. There was an interesting sidebar in the lead-up to the game as Utah Jazz power forward Karl Malone threatened a boycott of the game after being edged out of a starting spot by Los Angeles Lakers forward A.C. Green. Malone apparently backed down from the threat only for the mailman to miss the All-Star game anyway due to an ankle injury. Incidentally, the Eastern Conference head coach, Chuck Daly, 2 years later coached the first Olympic men's basketball team after professionals were allowed to play, with 11 players in this game becoming part of what would be known as the Dream Team. Additionally, during the month of February, the 1990 U.S. Figure Skating Championships were held at the Salt Palace in Salt Lake City, with Todd Eldridge winning the men's singles, Jill Trineri winning the ladies' singles, Christy Yamaguchi and Rudy Galindo winning the pairs title, and Susan Wynn and Joseph Girard winning the ice dancing title. February's final major event stayed in the Sunshine State with the Busch Clash, an exhibition event held prior to the Daytona 500 that at that time gave automatic entries to drivers who won pole positions during the previous seasons while holding 2 rounds of qualifying, with one driver based on a second round performance automatically getting in. This will be followed by the Gatorade Twin 125 qualifying race in the Daytona 500. The Busch Clash held on February 11th saw Ken Schrader hold off Greg Sachs, who for this race was driving a number 46 C Chevrolet car supplied by Hendrick Motorsports as what was called a movie car for the 1990 Tom Cruise movie Days of Thunder. That car being driven in universe by Cruise's Cold Trickle character, which was one of several movie cars appearing during the latter part of the 1989 and early part of the 1990 NASCAR Winston Cup seasons. This was the only race during Speed Weeks where cars used for Days of Thunder actually had their results count. As for the Twin 125, Sachs, again driving the 46, this time with sponsorship by Exxon's Superflow brand of motor oil that was driven in universe by Cold Trickle at a later stage, and Rick Mast, driving the number 51 Exxon Chevy driven in universe by Cole's chief rival, Roddy Burns, played by Michael Booker, and the Daytona 500 itself, with the number 51 with Mellow Yellow sponsorship this time, and driven by Bobby Hamilton, in universe driven by Trickle late in the film. Hamilton made his Winston Cup debut in Phoenix late in the previous season, driving a movie car that he qualified 5th, and even led 5 laps in before blowing an engine. And the other movie car in this race was number 18 Hardy Chevrolet, driven by Tommy Ellis, in the film universe driven by Yule's Russ Wheeler character. All these cars were entered only for filming purposes, with each of those races seeing the movie cars not scoring withdrawing early. The Twin 125s, which aired on February 17th on tape delay after taking place 2 days earlier, saw the Twin 125 races won by Jeff Bodine and Dale Earnhardt, with the Intimidator starting second, the outside pole. Originally, the pole was going to be held by Ken Schrader, who had the fastest qualifying time during the Twin 125 qualifiers, only to crash during the first Twin 125 race. And as has long been the case, NASCAR rules required him to start in the back due to the fact that he had to use a backup car. And what was perhaps the first major event CBS had to actually live up to the Dream Season hype, this proved relatively clean race as restrictor plate races at Daytona and Talladega went, with only 3 cautions and only 1 crash on lap 43. That crash collected Phil Parsons. Parsons was driving the number 4 Kodak-sponsored Oldsmobile Cutlass for Morgan McCord Motorsports. Mike Alexander was driving the number 12 Rebestus Brakes Buick Regal for Bobby Allison's team, Alexander having replaced Allison in the number 12 when it was owned by Stavola Brothers after Allison's career ended in a violent crash at Pocono 2 years earlier. Moroso was driving the number 20 Crown Petroleum-sponsored Oldsmobile for his father, Dick. Sadly, Moroso would not live to see the end of the season due to being killed along with the nursing assistant in another vehicle named Tammy Williams on September 30th. Moroso was driving drunk and at high speed shortly after finishing the Tyson Ollie Farms 400 race in North Wilkesboro on September 30th. Moroso would end up winning posthumously the Rookie of the Year award. In the race, Dale Earnhardt would lead 155 of the 200 laps and looked like he was on his way to winning the Daytona 500 for the first time.
Here you see the number 5 car, Ricky Rudd. He's in the 6th position. Front 4, Elliott is hanging on to the tail of that draft. Bill Elliott, twice the winner, 85 and 87 right there. Jeff Bodine being recorded as a lap down, giving us these incredible pictures. They get ready to sort this one out. Number 3, Earnhardt in front, and Derek Cope, driving the race of his career, stays in second place. The span away Washington campaigner moves in again on number 3, Earnhardt.
And look at it moving up here. That Purelator sponsored car, Purelator, is being sold now by its parent company because it doesn't fit in the scheme of things. And here it is running second in the Daytona 500, maybe winning it.
The white flag coming down to Dale Earnhardt.
1 lap to go. Does anybody have anything left to cope with the man black?
Here's what's going to happen. Maybe. I thought Terry Labonte was going to try to move down and take over second place, and if he does, that'll just open it up for Earnhardt to move away. We'll see. Naturally, every one of them wants to gain a position, whether it's from 4th to 3rd or whatever, but if they get side by side, it'll help Earnhardt.
This is the half a lap to go.
4-car shootout to decide it all. Dale Earnhardt.
Here comes Cope down on the inside. Earnhardt has problems.
Slopping back. Something is amiss. Here comes the field driving for the finish. And on the outside, it is car number 10, Derek Cope. Something amiss on the Earnhardt car. Coming to the line. It's Labonte pulling up, and an amazing finish. The Whitcomb Racing Team has won it.
Unbelievable.
And it looked like Earnhardt had a tire go down maybe as he went into the turn. And Nicole crying a little bit.
Derek Cope's first top 5 finish, his first victory, comes in the Daytona 500. A remarkable day of sport.
Dale, what the heck happened on the last lap?
We run over some debris and cut a right rear tire down, David. Just a quarter of a lap away from victory.
Only for disaster to strike when Earnhardt's number 3 GM Goodrich-sponsored Chevy Lumina ran across a piece of bell housing from the blown engine of the 75 Darabelle Foods Food Line-sponsored Oldsmobile of Rick Wilson, resulting in Earnhardt cutting a tire while Derek Cope, driving the Purelator-sponsored Chevy for Bob Whitcomb Racing, took the checkered flag in one of NASCAR's biggest upsets. Ironically for Cope, a native of Spanaway, Washington, just outside Seattle, no one in his hometown or the Seattle area got to see the race live, as Seattle's CBS affiliate, Cairo TV7, carried a locally produced NBA game between the Seattle Supersonics and Charlotte Hornets in Charlotte, while the race was aired on tape delay at 3 o'clock Pacific time. For those curious, the Sonics won 85-70. CBS also carried a game between the Boston Celtics and Los Angeles Lakers after the Daytona 500, with the Lakers, aided by 30 points and 13 assists from Magic Johnson, winning 116-110. Anyway, on February 25th, the Pistons traveled to Madison Square Garden to take on the New York Knicks. As was the case with the Suns-Celtics game a month prior, Knicks center Patrick Ewing provided a game-high 37 points and 13 boards, one fewer rebound than teammate Charles Oakley, in a losing effort as the Pistons, led by 31 points by Joe Dumars, won 98-87.